Once you get sleep apnea, then you're at greater risk for a lot of things. So your cardiac arrhythmias, like atrial fibrillation, once you have that, cerebrovascular events dramatically rise, cardiovascular events dramatically rise.
These comorbidities that you're mentioning, like cardiovascular issues, if we're not getting proper sleep, what you're saying is our heart is working harder, right? And if our heart is working harder, it could possibly raise blood pressure. It could lead to cardiovascular events, and in some cases, sudden cardiac arrest. Patients who have obstructive sleep apnea they're pretty much in a sympathetic state, right? A sympathetic state is what we know is fight or flight. And when we sleep at night, we want to get into a parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest. And that's when the body is healing and recovering. My grandfather, he passed away in his sleep. And at the time, this was 1979, obstructive sleep apnea was not on the radar at that time, but he died in his sleep. And what I know now is more than likely he had obstructive sleep apnea and he had a sudden cardiac arrest, which led to his death. But if he would have been treated for an obstructive sleep apnea at the time, maybe he wouldn't have had that cardiovascular incident.
That's kind of why I became passionate about it, is like I see that downstream, and it's scary and it's sad. For me as a pediatric specialist, my focus is like, I want these kids as healthy as possible, like breathing well, sleeping well. That way they can live a long, great, fulfilling life, a healthy life, versus a lifetime of unhealthy breathing patterns, which are just going to make the rest of your body less healthy. If I see a kid snoring, even if it's a little bit of mouth breathing, I don't even want to think about them ending up with sleep apnea and then having to deal with cardiovascular issues. That's why I like the early intervention, like the Toothpillow program. It's all about getting in there early, growing the face, getting that facial growth, getting that airway and jaw growth early on to try to minimize and prevent the more severe stuff later.